Good morning, Delray. This is Ryan.
And Amanda.
And Amanda's here as well. This is the Zoom edition of Delray Morning Live, and we have a few guests with us today. So we appreciate you tuning in. I know it's a little bit different of a format, not only that we're coming to you from, I think, 4 different locations, including our guest today, but we also have switched it from events and happenings in Delray Beach to the things that you need to know in these times during this pandemic. And today we're going to focus on positive news. We're going to focus on all the awesome stories that are happening in Delray Beach, and that will continue all the way into next week. But we're going to start by talking about a few of the things that we've been doing while we've been stuck at home. Amanda, you've been working like crazy, right?
Yes, I have been sewing masks. When I saw there was a shortage of them, I was like, well, I have time on my hands, a whole lot of fabric in my studio, and I'm going to start making masks. So I've now made, I want to say 50 something masks and counting. And I've recruited a whole group of people, and I'm going to call some of the seamstresses who normally make gowns for me, since they're not making gowns right now, and give them some work and make more masks, because a lot of people need them, both healthcare workers, grocery store employees, people just that are interfacing with the public, and a lot of local people have reached out that they need them also. So I've been sewing my little hands off. I don't think I've ever sewn this much in my entire life. I was like, I've become like my own assembly line, but it just feels good to be able to do something right now, especially in these unknown times, and everybody's so concerned and scared, and to be able to say, hey, well, you need this, I've got it. And I gave some yesterday to St. Mary's Hospital, and the nurse was so appreciative, and I was just, I don't know, it makes you feel good to know that you could do something. I can't save lives, I'm not a doctor, but I can help try to keep them safe as much as possible. So yeah.
That's a really good point, Amanda, because it's not like, it feels a little bit like a hurricane, right?
Yes.
We all know what that's like in Florida, unlike maybe some other, areas across the nation, across the world, except that during a hurricane, you can go out and put up shutters. You can go out and help clean up debris. You can help hand out sandbags. There just feels like there's a lot you can do. You can let people that are on electricity come to your house and take a warm shower. There's
you
a
can
lot
have a hurricane party.
Yes, you can have a hurricane party. You can actually invite people over and you can go to their house. It's the opposite of social distancing.
Yeah.
But during times like this, the number one thing you need to do is stay home. So how do you help people, when you're staying home? Do you have any of these masks handy, or have you handed them all out? Can we see one?
Let me see if I could grab one really quick.
I guess that's the benefit of being, at home. So while Amanda goes and tries to find one of those masks, I know we have Stephanie Melman from the Delray Beach Chamber that wanted to make send a special message out to Delray Beach.
Well, I just wanted to say hello to everyone and thank you for watching. What we wanted to do during this time is I wanted the Chamber to be the source of reliable information, not only for the business community, but for our friends and neighbors as well. So that's why we're going to keep doing Delray Morning Live. That's why we're doing daily e-blasts. We just launched our new websites, and we've asked our members to send in our hot deals. What we'll have on a special website page, we'll be sending that on e-blasts and in social media. So my mantra, as my team knows, is communicate, communicate, communicate. So that's what we're going to do for our members, but also for the community that we love.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for putting in all the time to make sure that we can still do Delray Morning Live for the community. This is cool. This is the first time I think I've jumped on Zoom this week, and it wasn't business related. It's community related. All right, Amanda, do we have one?
Yes. Well, I have a few of them. So they're fun. They have ties on. Yeah, I went through a bunch of patterns on talking to different medical professionals to make sure they're safe. They have double lining in them of a non-woven interfacing, so it can stop a little bit more of those particles. I mean, they're not going to be the masks that are going to be medically grade, but for non-COVID patients, or they could put them over their masks to preserve their masks a little bit longer, because this can be thrown in the wash. They could wear it a bunch of times. It's reusable, eco-friendly, and yeah, so it gives them a little bit of something. And then, me being me, it had to be colorful. So I was like, maybe I can make a few people smile by seeing a happy mask, when they're scared at the doctors. I mean, on a good day, no offense, Dr. Spodak, doctors can be a little scary, you know, and especially in these times, it's like any little bit of happiness that we can give. That's my mission. That's my goal. And I can't do much from the outside, like you said. So I'm cooped up inside, got my little sewing machine, and I've been like cranking these babies out.
Well, that's awesome, Amanda. And I knew they were going to be stylish. I had to see one, but I knew they were going to be stylish. I don't even think you could make one not stylish, even if you wanted to, because you have all your fabric. So they're going to be colorful. They're going to be fun. I think when this, you know, we all go back to work and we're all back in our normal life, we're going to have to get some of those at the Spodak dental office. What do you think? Spodak?
We should do a custom print. Unique custom.
Yeah. You know, one thing that's interesting, Amanda, is even though they're not COVID-19 because the viral particles are so darn small, one thing that's really important and not being utilized is when you are sick, even if you don't know what you have, you should be wearing one of those masks because it's the viral particles in coughs and sneezes that spread and affect other people. So if you're familiar with Asian countries, they've been dealing with viral pandemics for so long that when you're sick in China or when you're sick in Japan, you'll see people wearing masks like that. And I think that's amazing because you don't need a medical one. You just need fabric to stop the spread of particles. So I think you're onto something. And I love that you're channeling your energy for good because we're all sitting here. What can we do? And, you know, you're taking that energy and deploying it. So kudos to you. Thank you for doing that.
Well, of course. I mean, I think it's important for us to do our part. And for those of us who doing our part normally means going and showing up to events and supporting people locally, you know, it is a little challenging to navigate. Where do we go? What do we do? Normally our show is full to the brim of 80 million events happening in town. So I think it's important. And I would like to say a few people yesterday have come out. I had one amazing woman donate bolts of fabric that we're going to be passing out to other people who want to help sew. And yeah, it's just, you know, about taking action and whatever that means to you and whatever you can do. And for a lot of you, it's staying at home. You know, that's a huge part of this. So it doesn't have to be something that is like, you know, this massive undertaking. It could be something just as important as staying home and stopping the spread.
So we're going to talk more about all the amazing things that community members and businesses are doing throughout Delray Beach and even throughout the county. But before that, we want to talk to Dr. Craig Spodak, and why I asked him to come on the show today is because I've been touching base with him almost on a daily basis, and he has been filling me in with some information from some of his colleagues, not only across the nation, but across the world. And in places like Italy, in places like California that were hit really hard with this before the state of Florida was. So I wanted him to share a little bit of his insight with us today. And again, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Spodak.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Amanda. Happy to be here. And thank you for continuing this. I think that even as the physical community starts to go through its changes and we're all distancing, I think it's even more important that you're staying steadfast to your commitment to keep the community together in this forum. So I applaud you guys because I know you're both very busy. All of us are very busy. And the fact that you're still doing this speaks volumes. And I hope you continue to do it throughout the crisis, as I'm sure you will. So Ryan, I've been a bug in Ryan's ear for every day for the last 10 days or so, maybe more, because and Ryan, I want to give you, I have so much respect for you, Ryan, as a commissioner, as a friend, as a person who always takes the high road. I said that to you last time I was on here when we were not dealing with a crisis, but you're the type of person that's decisive and doesn't mind standing up to fight for what's right. And I'm so proud of you and your actions and the way you handle yourself. It's really been something that I look at you and I want to learn from you as well and see how you maneuver and how your brain works, because I tend to get emotional about things, and sometimes emotion can drive you to a decision, but it also can mute your point as well, because you get you sometimes, Ryan's told me, okay, pipe it down, let's get back to the basics here. But the reason why I was so frenetic and remain this way is that we've got a population that is either on one. Well, let me take a step back. I have several friends that are in Italy, and I'm part of these forums that are on online forums with a worldwide network of doctors, medical professionals, dentists, doctors, and support staff. And I started seeing these trends in Asia, how things were happening, and how doctors in China were reaching out. And unfortunately, at that point, there was a lot of suppression from the government. There was actually that very well-known case of that medical doctor that said, hey guys, there's a major problem here. And then the Chinese government, I think they said, you gotta publicly denounce what you just said. And so there was a lot of covering up of information because people were realizing very early that this was serious. And then, of course, the virus next target was in Italy. And I have a lot of Italian friends. I was listening to their comments, and I can scroll back into January and February in the early days when they were joking, and there was a very light-hearted sense of it. And the quarantine started coming, and there was people quarantining, but they were partying a little bit too, because we're human beings, we're social beings, and this defies our very nature to be alone. We have impulses to be tribal and be together. So the virus preys upon us in a unique way because we are social beings. And then I started seeing things unfold. And as things got bad in Italy, and my friends I was taking pictures and showing on Facebook, and my friends were saying, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on in your town. You've got to act now. And they were saying like we were doing the same exact thing, and we were not taking it seriously. And the problem is, as most of us know, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I want to just touch upon these points briefly, because we all know what's going on. We all know there's a pandemic. We all know that it's dangerous. But one thing that we have to realize is that we have the power to mitigate its damage. That's what I think is most important. And what happened in Italy is a great lesson for us. South Korea was able to control it very easily because their society has a certain level of responsibility to each other, where they're like, you know what, I'm young, I'm okay, but I have older parents or people, and they take responsibility. They're wearing their masks when they're not feeling well, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. I got a call yesterday that was the reason why I felt really good about this call. I always believe things happen exactly as they should and for a reason. I got a call from a buddy of mine who remained nameless, but he works in the ER at Boca. And he called me because he's got a wife and 2 kids, and he's really, really scared. He's here in Boca Hospital. He's really scared. He's like, people are just not paying attention. And we've got blah, blah numbers of beds, and we've got numbers of floors, and this is what's going on. And he's talking with colleagues in New York. And if you have friends that are medical doctors in New York, there's a major, major palpable issue. And it's the same exact thing that happened in Italy. It's the same exact thing that happened in Spain. And we're not learning. And the fact is that there's nothing to be scared of, but there is a healthy amount of understanding that needs to happen on a community level. And no, we've got to mitigate this. And it's a very tough issue because, as Ryan and I have talked at length, people that are unemployed, that causes morbidity and mortality as well. When you lose your job and you're worried about taking care of your kids, people get depressed and people suicide goes up. So this is such a convoluted issue. But when I got my finger on the pulse of the medical community, I actually asked my buddy, can you go live on with me on Facebook? He's like, look, I'm not a really good speaker. I don't want to do that. You do that. So he's like, no doctors are doing that. None of his colleagues in Boca or Delray are doing that. So I feel compelled to just be that guy to say, hey guys, this is really serious. I'm not trying to scare you, but I think having a realistic attitude and understanding, just because this is being talked about for weeks and weeks, we're all getting fatigued. We're getting fatigued, like, oh my God, this again? Like, nothing's happening. The sun is shining. I don't know anybody with coronavirus. And that's the reason why the disease is so difficult, is because it's incubating so long, and more than half of the people are asymptomatic. So it's a perfect, issue to hurt us. And because of the way it lays dormant and lays asymptomatic. So what I'm saying here is, please take it seriously. It's not just about washing your hands and being healthy and young. It's about staying at home. And if you're going to go for a walk, the idea that your friends have been quarantined for a week, or they're not infected. So let me just get together with my neighbors. Let's have play dates. Your kids are going crazy. Like, I miss Johnny. Can we get Tommy over here? You're like, oh, you know what? Screw it. I can't handle it anymore. Like, get Tommy over here. But we need to not do that. We need to stay steadfast in this, because it's a serious issue, and now it's right on our doorstep. India has 500 confirmed cases, I believe, as of yesterday. They're a country of 1.3 billion. They shut down. The entire country shut down. They have 500 cases. We have 55,000. And by the way, we're not testing people at hospitals. If you have a viral issue and you test negative for flu and you're coughing, you get sent home. We don't even have a finger on the pulse of what's going on. I have friends that have gone to the hospital and they're saying they suspect it's corona, but they're not going to test you because the test results take days to come back. So just please, even if your friends are socially distancing and they're quarantined, it's just don't go near other people for a little bit. I know it's hard, but kids don't know how to do this. If you're going to go on a big family bike ride, I'm seeing big family bike rides, kids don't understand it. You got kids on bikes and they're holding hands and they're getting close to each other. It's just let's lay low for a little bit. We're already behind the 8 ball on it, and my rant is over. I don't know if you wanted all that, Ryan, but am I muted, by the way? Did you mute me like 5 minutes ago?
No, we heard everything you said, and that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show, because I know you and I were touching base, and we were talking about how decisions were being made in the city. And I think it's really also important for Delray Beach to know, without getting too far into it, is that we were on daily phone calls as a city, as a county together, looking at what the state is recommending, looking at what the county is recommending, looking at what the CDC is recommending, and then making decisions from there. And I had to put a lot of trust in our city manager, because I would have maybe done everything 2 days earlier than he would have. However, he explained to me why it's so important to stay with the pack, and the pack meaning our county. You know, there may have been other cities that jumped the gun and closed a few days before the county as a whole decided, hey, we're going to start doing this, and we're going to start closing down in this order. But when one city does it and steps away from the pack, what they do is they send people outside of their city, right? And they send people into Delray Beach, and they went to the beach and they went to the restaurants. And
that's when I was calling you saying, Ryan, Boca's closed, we're coming here. And you're like, hey, there's a lot going on. And I'm thinking,
right.
The city's manager, even though there was conversations that I had with him that I disagreed, I respect his thought process, and he's a great man. I was really happy to get to know him through this process. So
it really doesn't work out for anybody, because okay, now people are coming into our city. It's not ideal, but where do those people go back to? They go back to your city. And if you're not going to stay in the beginning stages of this, if you're not going to stay in the bubble of your house, you should stay in the bubble of your community, right? Or within a few blocks. And they weren't doing that. So really no one wins in that situation. So it's best that we'd all do it together. And yeah, it was 2 days later than maybe I would have wanted it. It's 4 days later, 5 days later than Dr. Spodak would have wanted. But there was a reason behind it, and it was every decision we've made have been aligned with the state and aligned with the CDC and aligned with Palm Beach County. Now, we ended up closing faster than Palm Beach County could close because we're smaller, they're bigger. So I think that's all really important for everyone, to know, and the conversations that Dr. Spodak and I have had, and to watch people's attitudes change. I mean, some people, it just didn't hit till recently, like just in the last day or two. I had a close colleague that at the beginning of this, when we had only said restaurants must close by 10, that's it. I was having a conversation with him. I was running into my office. He was running out of the gym. And I said, dude, you're still going to the gym? I'm like, why is that gym even open? And he said to me, oh, Ryan, it's not going to be like that here. Look at all the precautions we're putting in place. For all the precautions, all we did was, so far all we've said is that we're going to close by 10. And look at Atlantic Avenue right now. You just came from a Zumba class. I'm like, no, it is going to be just like that. And you really need to start taking this serious. Well, that individual won't leave his house now. So it was only a week time. But we need to get there.
It's so unfortunate about the human brain, and we're all humans here. We just don't understand things. Like I heard someone tell me once that the reason why people don't stop smoking, for example, is because a human being does not identify with its future self. So you don't see yourself being the person that's going to be having to deal with the smoking issue. You're like, I'm smoking now, but in the future, I'm not going to be a smoker. And the problem is days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. So this virus is the same way. We don't, now that it's in New York, we're like, oh, whoa, I got a friend in New York. Oh my God, my cousin is there. And now it's, okay, now it's here, but with the incubation period, it's a little too late. You know, now we're just gonna go through what we're gonna go through. And Bill Gates was saying that our chance to have controlled it. No, Bill Gates was talking about this in 2015. And I frankly saw the TED Talk. I'm like, this guy is out of his mind. Like, why is he worried about an epidemic plan, a pandemic plan? Like, you know, what is that? Like, who cares? It's like a little bit like doomsday prepper to me. And now, you know, we're looking back at 2015 and realizing he was right. And now he's also saying it's too late and we can't control it now. It's already, the cat's out of the bag. And the point that I really want to press here is when I spoke to my buddy Greg yesterday, who's over in Boca, I could hear the emotion in his voice, and it brought me to tears. Because I'm just thinking, this guy is, these are the soldiers, our community healthcare workers. We're sitting at home, you know, without an obligation of, do I want to go, do I need to go in today? I mean, we're going in for emergency care of our patients, but we're screening people, making sure they're not sick. He's going into he's like the firefighter walking in, charging into the burning building. And to hear him say things like, I'm afraid to kiss my kids when I get home. I don't want to infect them. I can't hug my wife. It just hit me. It hit me so hard. And that's why I'm here, because it's not just you. Get out of your own self. And remember, the root of all misery is over focusing on self. Think about other people right now. Think about the doctors who are really the soldiers in this fight, the nurses and doctors and support teams. They're walking into burning buildings right now. And while I was on the phone, he's like, oh, I just got a call. I got to go into the ER. He's like, it's crazy to say this, Craig, but I'm actually really happy this is a GI bleed. As scary as that sounds, I'm just relieved. I take a sigh of breath that I'm not walking into another suspected corona case. And we're 2-3 weeks before what's going to happen. So if he's feeling this way now, what's going to happen? So think about those doctors. If you have a loved one or a friend or someone on social media that's a doctor, send them support. Thank those people. They're not being paid more. They're putting themselves in the face of danger. And these are the people that are here for us. The first responders, the police, and the doctors. These people are going to be there the whole way through. This is the time to reach out and give them your loving support.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think on that note too, I think we also need to thank their families. I think a lot of times the families get forgotten, and they're making this huge sacrifice too. The wife of that doctor who can't kiss her husband. You know, a lot of us are at home and we're like, oh man, you know, I'm at home, but you're with your loved ones at home. He wishes he could kiss his wife and kids. So I think it's important for people to also remember the families of these heroes, and even the people at your grocery store. If you're in the grocery store, make sure you say thank you so much. What can I do for you? Because they're also putting their lives at risk every day, having that close interaction with other people. So I think you made a really great point, Dr. Spodak, and I think we just need to make sure we're saying thank you, because at the end of the day, they're the ones keeping us all here. So
yes, thank you, Craig, so much for joining us on the show, and I think that's a great message. You know, shoot those things.
Would you mind if I, Ryan, just want to say one last thing, and I'll make it quick as possible. You know, there's obviously the what I've said is painting a doom and gloom picture, and you know, we're going to go through a challenging time. I get it. It's not going to be a zombie apocalypse. We will get through it. We will see the other side. But there's a lot of things that we cannot control. I've talked about the things you can control: social distancing, staying at home. But the things you can't control, let them come, and let the blessing of whatever this is, because I'm going to use the word blessing, because when humanity is brought to its knees collectively, we have a chance to all rise up together. And we spent the last couple of years as human beings dividing a million different ways in which we are different. And we are no different, because the virus doesn't care what gender you prefer or what sexual orientation, what race you consider yourself. We are actually one human race. The rest is just culture. We're one human family. The virus is indistinguished between your skin tone or your hair color or your eye color or anything else. So this is a time where we should actually come together through this pain, through this suffering, through this humbling, and being brought to our knees is the time for us to rise up together in unity. And I really believe that. So maybe this is all just a divine guidance for us.
I hope you're right, because I'm feeling that. And
I know you are, because that's who you are, Ryan.
And it was actually really weird. Amanda, did you notice that like the lighting changed?
Yeah, it just all of a sudden he like started glowing. I don't know.
Craig, right as you were saying that, literally the lighting changed all around your face. The sun must have just come up high enough to
But just for that second, it's gone again. It's gone.
Just for that. It was, yes. So
well, I'll look at the video.
I got chills.
I think that's a great message. And let's roll straight from that into talking about all the great things that are happening in Delray Beach and all the people that are doing so many good things. So Amanda, why don't you kick it off?
Okay, so we love to talk about the amazing things happening here in town. One thing that I think is really cool is John Brewer has kicked off the Socially Distanced Supper Club. And I think this is such a neat idea. And it's a way for people to support our local restaurants. And there is a set menu, and you can go and you can get the food for the day. And in 3 days, he got 900 members. And for those of us who do social media, that's kind of hard to get 900 members or 900 anythings in 3 days. And so I think it's pretty cool. And I think there's a lot of amazing things that are happening to support your community. And I think to Dr. Spodak's point, it is a time where we can really come together and we can really support this amazing town in our little bubble. And also included in that is the Great American Takeout. And so you can support local and you can participate, and the hashtag is Great American Takeout. And there is a whole list of places that you could go to. A lot of your favorite restaurants are included on this list. And they talk about the takeout they have and the hours. I think we could still keep supporting our favorite restaurants in a different way than we're used to, but help keep those amazing people in business. It's hard times for all of us, but we can do our part. Go get something to eat and bring it home, and have a picnic outside for lunch at your house, and do something to support your community.
And you don't have to do the traditional takeout, because delivery dudes will take care of the pickup for you. So we took part in the Great American Takeout last night via Delivery Dudes. And what I think is great about that is, Delivery Dudes is a local business. Mm-hmm. That's a Delray Beach business headquartered right here in Delray. So you're ordering from a local business who is ordering from a local business. So it's locals helping local business, helping local businesses. So Delivery Dudes, they've been amazing. They have been hiring. They've been onboarding as many people as possible. They're trying to prioritize hiring individuals that are out of a job because of the pandemic. So servers from restaurants or back of house, they're able to go to Delivery Dudes, get a job, and so utilize them. On top of that, they are calling me. Jason, the CEO, is calling me every day. Hey, how can I help? Is there anything that the city needs? Can we deliver food? What I think is really, really exciting is, I jumped on the phone with Renee, our executive director of the CRA, and we were talking about how we could use the freebie service, right? The golf carts that give free rides, right? We don't want to be riding people around town anymore. How can we use these? And they're delivering food now. So,
that's great. I didn't know that.
So they're working directly with the Downtown Development Authority and a few merchants, a few open kitchens. I think they're going to be, they're delivering hundreds of meals, and they're doing it via the freebie service. So there's a lot of different elements of our community coming together for that. Probably the two biggest ones we're going to talk about on next week's show is Career Source and Baptist Health. I mean, they really deserve their own dedicated show for the amount of resources that they're putting out there, both for the health of our community, both for feeding our community and providing jobs to our community. So we'll have that next week. So Amanda, what is the chamber doing?
So the chamber has really stepped it up. I mean, the chamber has always been one of the places you can come in our community for all of the information, for the support that you need as a resident or as a business owner. Besides Delray Morning Live, which we will continue to do throughout this, even if God forbid one of us gets sick, we're at home, so we will not hurt anyone. But we're not going to, knock on wood, we're all going to be great. But so they launched a new modern website, which is www.delraybeach.com. And they're asking the members to update your profile. It increases your exposure, tell people about what you have going on. Maybe right now you're operating your business a little differently. You've pivoted in some direction. You went from sewing gowns to making masks. This is the time to let them know, so that way they can show what you're doing. They also have launched a closed Facebook page, and it's only for chamber members. So if you want to be in on this, you need to make sure you are a chamber member, and it's a way to communicate with each other. So maybe you are having a Zoom meeting and you want to give all of your employees some delicious food from a restaurant. Well, delivery dudes can help you. And these are ways that you can communicate with other chamber members. And then, of course, send them their specials. Send them the creative things you're doing during the crisis. They're having, as Stephanie mentioned, delraybeach.com/hot deals. So maybe next week I'm going to put an earring on sale super cheap. Wink. So I'll put that on the hot deals, so that way everyone knows what we're doing and how we're trying to promote that. They're promoting content on this dedicated page and on the new website via member-to-member e-blast and social media. We will continue. Reactivating and updating the LinkedIn account to utilize as another channel of communication. So if you don't love Instagram or Facebook, you can go on LinkedIn because you can get the same information there now. And then they are working on utilizing video to launch tutorials on social media, marketing, insurance, and legal. So a lot of resources that are being provided by our Chamber of Commerce. And I think it's amazing. And I think this is you never want to say this is perfect timing because this is horrible, but it's the perfect time for all of these new things to be implemented because you're at home. A lot of us are trying to come up with new things to do with our business in this new way of doing business. So here are some great resources to talk about what you're doing or maybe learn something new so you can help push your business forward through these trying times.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are finding the time to do things that we've been putting off. So whether that's things around the house that needed to be painted or fixed, or spending time with family, or doing some of the, going through your photos. I mean, think how many photos we take, yet we don't go through those photos, and we have 3,000 images, on our phone. And then as a family to go through them and pick out the ones that you love. Of course, focus on your business as well. I know I'm getting a lot of things done that have been on that to-do list for a long time. One of the really interesting things that I learned about yesterday was we've heard about Xfinity offering free internet, right, to the community, but they're also continuing to grow their educational resources available for school-aged children. With new content from Curiosity Stream, History Vault, Reading Corner, Kids Room, and great lectures. So you can find this by saying education into your Xfinity remote. It's that.
Wow.
It's that easy. So it's not just that you have to have a laptop or you have to have a computer or an iPad. This is right on your TV. If you have Xfinity, you can say education right into your remote, or you can find it by going through the menu of your TV.
Wow, that's really neat. I did not know that. And also for jobs with the Chamber, they are telling you that CareerSource can help. And as of Friday, there are 451 jobs open with 141 employers in Palm Beach County at floridajobs.org. So if you are finding yourself right now without your normal job because of these closures, there are jobs available. So if you go right to floridajobs.org, you can find some of this information and maybe find something that you might like just as much to do right now.
Awesome. Another one exciting thing that I've been reading about, and something very similar is coming here to Delray Beach, is the Hospitality Helping Hands, or you may hear it, 3H Delray, which is a network of restaurants supervised by Rodney Mayo of Dada, of the Subculture Group. They are feeding people that need it. They are starting first with displaced workers from their own industry as well as veterans. And what they need is transport. They need trucks and drivers, volunteers to pack and deliver food, volunteers to help with the census, I love how everyone is still keeping focus on the census. That was one of those to-do items that if you are home, go answer the census. This is exactly why that is important. You know, eventually there were going to be funds, there were going to be programs, and they're going to reference the numbers of the cities, and that's what they're going to rely on to see how much assistance that we get. So the correct numbers for our census is very, very important. And they also need package containers, to-go containers, paper bags, boxes, etc. But it's a really neat program. Howley's out of West Palm is spitting out food at, I believe, $8 a meal. The city of West Palm has come to the table with $12,000. A few other nonprofits have been funding these $8 meals. So it's kind of changing this model. And, you know, I had a chance to get some inside information from David Robinson, who works for Mr. Mayo. And they think they could help restaurants transition into opening up and making cheaper meals for the community. And whether those cheaper meals are being paid for by nonprofits or through the city or county's budget, or if it's just an option for people that can pay the $8 or $10. Because, hey, we did, you know, national takeout last night, the Great American Takeout last night. But I can tell you, I cannot afford to do that every single night and every single meal. It's just not going to happen. But at $8 or $10 a meal, that can be accessible. That can open up a restaurant. It's not going to be the same. But I think it's a really neat model, and they're starting to expand it. They're expanding it in Miami. They're expanding here in Delray Beach and in West Palm. So hopefully we'll continue to have updates on what restaurants are getting on board with that program. I know the Chamber gave us a bunch of needs from the communities. Do you have that list?
I do have that list. A lot of you are at home and wondering how you can help your neighbors. The Achievement Centers for Children and Families, they need the following items: devices needed for home-based virtual learning. So maybe that's a old iPad or computer, desks, chairs to set up virtual schools at home, school supplies, binders, papers, pen, pencils, whiteboards, markers, anything that you may need for school supplies, gift cards to Target or Publix or Walmart. So these families can get the things that they're in need of. Diapers, wipes, and baby food. You know, the Achievement Center is an amazing organization. They did make the decision to close the centers for the safety of the families and employees. So let's help these people while they're at home. A lot of them need these really basic necessities. And you know, maybe you have, like I dropped off yesterday a whole bunch of diapers because my daughter doesn't wear them anymore. And as I was cleaning, I was like, wow, I have all these packages of diapers still. So I went and dropped them off yesterday. And, you know, little things like that can make a huge difference in somebody's life, especially right now because they might be out of work, you know, and they need a little bit of extra love. Cross Ministries needs to go boxes because they are serving meals and they need some more containers. So maybe you have some boxes that you can share. They definitely would love that. And then those were all of the notes that I had on things that people need. And I do want to mention, I forgot to mention, there are a lot of local boutiques also who are doing curbside pickup. So if you are tired of wearing your sweatpants and pajamas and you want to buy something fabulous to wear, a lot of the boutiques are doing that. And I believe that information is available on the Delray Downtown Authority website. So you can find all of these places. And of course, you can have things shipped right to your house if you don't want to leave your house. So that way you can get some fabulous things and support those businesses as well. Because I know in times like this, we're all thinking about food and toilet paper that a lot of us still can't get our hands on. So the thought of going shopping for a dress or earrings is kind of a little strange. But I do want to mention, you know, we need your support too in the retail community. So go and buy a gift card. Maybe it's a friend's birthday you can't go to now. Buy a gift card to your favorite shop because I think they would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the sweatpants because I am appropriately dressed with a button down and sweatpants.
Same. I think probably 90%.
Yeah. My kids were all making fun of me this morning, so that's okay. So I know I just got a message. From Tiffany that said, in regards to the ACCF, schedule a drop off. Don't just leave stuff. And okay. I think that's important with any of these services is that you give them a call. Even when regards to the curbside pickup. Every single one of these restaurants, they are not open from morning to night. You know, they're picking certain hours, and ideally you want to put your orders in ahead of time so they know, you know, how much they need to make. So please, you know, these are different times, and please be thoughtful of that. You know, schedule, plan, and input in your orders. So, Amanda, if you don't have anything else, I'm just going to thank Delray Beach. Thank you to the Greater Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce for everything you do, and everyone out there that is helping. And we all are. If you're at home, you're helping. And thank you to everyone that is out there in the world helping, whether you're at a grocery store or you're at a hospital or you're at the fire department, the police department. If you're out there, and so that we can stay in here, we thank you. And please, everyone that's watching this, send a text today, make a phone call, someone you're thinking about.